So, I'm just gonna riff. I don't know. Ty, please feel free to jump
I'm
in and
gonna.
be like,
I'll
I have
hype up
questions.
your
Don't
riff.
worry.
okay,
Okay, great. Because I was like, I'll jump in on the riff.
yeah,
I'm down.
I'm just, yeah. Here we go.
Welcome to Radical Listening, the Portland podcast where we talk to local artists about their work. I'm your host, Phil Johnson.
And I'm your co-host, Clifton Holtznagel. Today on the show, we have Andrea Vernae and Tyharra Cozier. Andrea is a resident artist at Artist Repertory Theater and was most recently on stage in Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play at Portland Center Stage. Tyharra was most recently on stage at Portland Playhouse in Pipeline.
We talked to them about a range of things from COVID to their processes and also how they're continuing their creative work during quarantine. I thought the conversation was really enjoyable. I thought it's really interesting to hear how quarantine has affected artists kind of in the middle of all of this, because there seems to be a spirit of wanting to create, but also wanting to just better this self. And that really comes through in this interview.
It was also interesting to chat with two of the other people in our kind of age bracket who came here all within the last 5-6 years to pursue our craft a little more thoroughly. And it was just really cool to hear more of a perspective from someone else. It just feels like there's a lot of us, there's a lot of us who came here 5 or 6 years ago and spent our like early and mid 20s like honing our craft in Portland, and a lot of us came here and then stayed, and it was interesting to hear about why that was for everybody and kind of put a pinpoint on that.
Exactly. I also want to say, before we get into the interview, if you listened to last week's episode, you heard us say that we have established some new social media. So we have new social media now. We have an Instagram that's Radical Listening Podcast, and then we have a Twitter that is the letter R, Listening Cast. So if you want to follow us and get the updates on the episodes, or we're hoping to start promoting people's work and kind of becoming a bulletin board, definitely follow those two social medias. And also, we want to accept headlines from listeners. So if you email us at radicallisteningpodcast@gmail.com, we will look at your headlines. We will ask our guests about them, and we'll mention you and give you a little shout out on the show.
As always, you can find this episode and all episodes of Radical Listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all sorts of other places where you can find wonderful podcasts.
All right, welcome to Radical Listening. We are back with our first episode.
Today we're talking with Andrea Vernae and Tyharra Cozier. Andrea, you're all the way in Florida. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Good.
Miami is hot, and I like that.
How hot?
Good.
Child, let me check the weather. So I'm not lying to you out here in these streets. 82 degrees.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's nice. And Ty, how are you?
Oh, good. Another day, another dollar.
Hey.
Actually,
You making dollars?
yeah, another day, another something. We getting something out of all this. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of life learning experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another day, another lesson.
Yeah.
Another
Yes.
lesson. Yeah, it is.
Ooh, child, that's
I
a
like
word.
that.
Yeah, quarantine has really been day by day, let me tell you.
Yeah. I started a job 6 weeks before this, and then now I've been doing that job from home, and I think longer now than I was when I was actually there.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
I bet.
I've been working from home longer than I was when I was working at the school. So that's kind of wild. Yeah, but quarantine's weird, man.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Are you back home with family, Drea?
I am. So originally I came home. People were like, oh, did you go to Miami to escape the quarantine, to escape COVID? I was like, no. I came down here. This is going to sound really morbid, but my grandma died. And so I came down for a funeral, and then just shit just started turning up with COVID. And I was like, well, I'm going to stay here.
Wow,
kind of broke. I ain't got to pay for food.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just stayed.
So you've been down there for a little while then?
Oh, child, a month. It's been a month.
It's been has it been a month?
It's been a month.
Yeah, you've been gone
Damn.
for a minute.
Yeah, I've been gone for a minute. Yeah. And so everyone's like, when you coming back? I'm like, yes. I
Coming
really
back.
don't know. I'm coming back. For sure, I think before my birthday, and that's June 28th.
Okay.
So
Well, that's not too far away.
that's in the ballpark. Of,
These days, who knows?
Who knows?
Ty, how about you? How's it been going for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. I've discovered so much about myself. I think in the last, because we've been doing this for, I think I've been in quarantine for 2 months, at least with my job. So like I'm still actively working. I actually think I'm busier now than in this one career. Without theater, this is the most time I've had, which has been great. So I've been doing a lot of like internal reflection, healing on some shit, which has been tight. So yeah, it's definitely been a day by day. I'm on an emotional roller coaster. Y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just up. When I'm up, I'm up. And then when I'm down, I'm down. And then I'm up again. And then some shit happens. And then I'm down. And then I'm going back up because some positive shit is happening. So I'm like, and then I'm down. And
it's all at once. It's wild.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's like my neighborhood is crazy. There was people slapboxing in the street.
Oh,
the police came, was like, keep it down, and then left, which was wild. And I was like, why? Who called the police? You knew they weren't going to do anything, guys. Like, nobody wants to arrest anybody right now. That's awful. Like, why are we calling the police?
Right.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of that lately where you go out and you're just like seeing the most ridiculous things. Like, I feel like people... I mean, I don't want to say people are losing their minds, but I feel like people are definitely letting their freest self show. Like, I've also noticed this in, like, if you go grocery shopping, people are much more testy now. You know what I mean? Like, people are ready to fight. It seems like all the time.
On the same token, it really depends, because some people are also, like, very, very, like, friendly and want to talk to you, and I've kind of been on that. I remember, like, the first week we were doing this, I went on a run up to Mount Tabor, and someone was like, just some like older lady was like, hey, nice shorts. And I'm like, thanks, here's where I got them. I just started this whole conversation with her and she was like talking to me. It was like this whole back and forth and we were like, huh, and it was like kept going. And I was like, that was very weird. I just like haven't talked to anyone new in at that point, like 8 days or whatever. And so
no, stay away from her.
Don't trust her.
I do not trust her.
No, that's super valid though, Clifton.
It's just
my best friend said she went to Walgreens and she literally just bought gum, and she's like, her and like the lady like chopped it up for 30 minutes about this gum.
Anything to talk about. It's so crazy.
It's either, I feel like it's either one of those two things. It's either like you're finding new connections because you're craving like some type of human interaction, or you're going completely left and being fucking paranoid. Like, because sometimes I'll be up in my apartment, like, can't go outside. It's a war zone outside. Because I haven't been outside in like 2.5 days. So now I'm like, I'm scared to go outside. So it's like one of the extremes. And then I do go outside and then I talk to a neighbor for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Ty, do you live alone? Are you quarantined with anyone right now?
I do live alone. I was quarantined with so I have a quarantine buddy. I have 2 quarantine buddies, which is like my friend Shawan and then my friend Danielle. And then I've actually, as of like the last 2 weeks, I've started opening up my social circle again to include more people. But at first I was hella paranoid. I was like, nobody could come in here without like spraying everything down and like just like and just being really scared. Yeah. Well, what about you guys? Are you guys quarantined with anybody? Are you? Well, I don't know.
I moved at the beginning of the month, right in the middle of all this, which was great. And into it, I moved from one house with 4 roommates to another house with 4 roommates. So I felt like I've been with too many people already. So I'm like really trying to keep it like low key in terms. Like Phil knows, like I've seen him and Jake like twice this whole time. And I've gone and seen my partner once for like 15 minutes. And my other partner broke up with me like early into this. So it's been a bit of a wild ride. But it's also a great time to deal with the breakup because it's like nothing really changed. So. It's like, well, here I am still. It's not like it could be any different, you know? So.
But then now there's just so much fucking. It's all I do. I call it DTTN. I just dwell, think, and trip. I just sit in my apartment and I just start dwelling and I start thinking and I just start fucking tripping.
Yeah.
See, that's why
Yeah.
I'm glad I live with people, because like we talk a lot, and I have people to just like process with, and like, you know, so yeah, I'm really feeling for people who are living alone right now, and like, yeah, gotta make sure you got your people.
Yeah.
We all got forced into like a Vipassana. We were talking about that yesterday. Where now
like a
it's like you stay at
meditation
home.
retreat.
Right. Can you imagine the millions of people who are Americans who are at home who probably are now with their thoughts for the first time? You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
In a long
Yeah.
time.
They're bugging out. They're like, I don't know what to do. And I'm
Give me a
just
haircut.
like, yeah.
I don't want to deal with my thoughts. Cut my hair.
Oh my God.
So are y'all working on any projects right now? Did you have anything that got like shut down because of this? Like any projects that you were about like really excited about doing that then like fell through?
I was about to be looking for Tiger Lily.
Oh, yeah.
And I was excited being able to like collaborate with, you know, some of those artists again. Kaylee, some of the people that's in the show, can't remember right now. But yeah, so that got shut down. So that kind of sucked. Also because of money. So I was just like,
Look.
dang, I'm not gonna get paid.
Right?
So yeah, so that's a project that I lost because of this.
Ty, how about you?
I had just finished a full season. I was working nonstop since like August,
Mhm.
and then like a lot of personal shit happened in between that. So I think this shit was a godsend. Like I think the universe was like, you need to sit your ass down.
Yep.
So and then I had like a bunch of personal projects, like Phil, you know, like my whole journey with this podcast, and
Right.
like, and then I'm just completely like lost all. I've actually lost all motivation to be an artist right now. I just don't, and I'm not trying to force it either, because I think I just have like other things I need to focus on. Because I like also do commercial real estate and property management, and right now business is kind of weirdly a booming, but not a booming because nobody can pay their rent. So
Yeah.
it's like, so, but there's just a lot of things going on with that too that I want to put attention to. But yeah, so for right now, for me, I'm just in this awful cycle, which I can't wait to break. And according to Governor Kate Brown, we won't have theater in Portland until September again at the earliest. So it looks like we have time, but right now I'm just trapped in that awful cycle as to like starting projects and not completing them, started projects and then not completing them. So it's like, I just need to pick a project that I can focus on. So that's what I need to do.
I've found that with my creative process lately, like I let myself off the hook for finishing anything because there's so much time that like I'll just like I did a whole treatment for a one-person Macbeth. I doubt that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, but I did the treatment and I filmed a few scenes, you know what I mean? And then I was like off to something else, you know, and it was like, okay, I think it's all gonna like build somewhere, you know what I mean? And it's because there's so much time now. I honestly, I'll have like a day or two at a time where I get creative and then just like not, but I'm also like working a lot with school and that's fairly creative too, which is lucky. But like, it's been really cool to be like, this doesn't have to have an outcome yet because there's no deadline for anything.
There's a lot of irony in the fact that, like, as an artist, usually you're like, man, I could be doing so much more work if I just had more time.
Right.
And then now, here we are, you got unlimited time. I don't know, it's helped my creative process because it's allowed me to relax into the fact that I don't finish projects, you know, right away. It's like, okay, well, this is just a sketch, and then I'll come back and I'll do something more. I'll add to it. But I don't know. How about you, Dre? Have you been keeping yourself creative at all, or?
I have been keeping myself creative, but just like I think in the aspect of like I have so much time, so I do feel the pressure to do something.
Yeah.
And so I'm not the best at time management. So like I gave myself a pat on the back for finishing like this 5-page like short film the other day, a part of this creative collective that Ty and I and Phil are a part of. And so yeah, I've been trying to write because in this I'm just like, all right. So acting isn't happening. So what can I do and what other things am I good at? Because I'm just like, what if I can't get in the theater and act in September or in like, I don't know, in the next year? How will I make money? How will I provide for myself? So I am just trying to explore other ways, other skills that I have, really. But yeah, I've been keeping creative, been writing. I've been spending a lot of time outside. Really, I'm just trying to connect with myself. Honestly, I think that's the only way that'll help me create and be a better artist out of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've just been so disconnected, because I have also had like a busy season of going like project to project to project, and I haven't had any time to process like anything, like my personal life. I also went through a breakup, and so yeah, I'm just sitting down and being like, okay, what kind of
Yeah.
art are we making? Because I feel like I got stuck in this loop of just like making art just to make money and just like kind of losing the passion of it. So I'm just trying to fall in love with stuff again.
It's
So I'm
really
watching a lot
interesting.
of Netflix and everything.
It's really interesting because you know, we get into, especially as like professional artists, we are working on, you know, collaborative projects so often. And then now we have this extended period of time where it's like, well, what kind of art are you interested in making? You know, and that's just it's a weird space to be in where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, what am I interested in? What do I, you know, what kind of books do I want to read? What kind of art do I want to take in, as
Yeah,
opposed to what is kind of being demanded of me?
right.
So do you guys want to talk about this collective a little bit?
Sure. Um, I think we're still figuring out what the hell it is.
Yeah.
So this creative collective
Yes.
is out of Latevin and Curtis's mind. And it's just wanting to fill the void of just like, oh, there's not enough work being done. We want to work more, but instead of waiting for the work, us creating the work ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a collective where we're just like, we're not waiting for people to create roles for us and stories for us, but we're creating them ourselves. And so it's a place where it's just like, if you've ever written anything, if you've ever had an interest in writing anything or doing anything in film in general, this is a place where you can like come and like cultivate that. And so out of that, I think when we first got together, it was like, all right, who has the scripts? Let's pick one script that we could shoot, that we plan to shoot. And then we did that. But also after that, we have also been like challenging ourselves creatively. Jazz has been coming up with these like one-liners that we like base a script off of, and just getting people in the flow of just like writing and I don't know, whatever the hell film is and what you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Ty.
Okay. Tagging. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's also a cool thing to do just because it's like, so like, you know, we're actors, like for the most part, everybody in the group are actors, but like, it's also exploring other things. Like I really enjoy writing. And I really am trying to figure out what my brand is. And I'm trying to figure out what my brand of art is. And I feel like I'm getting closer to it, which is like why I'm also kind of taking a step back creativity wise, just because I'm trying to fill up my cup, because like I'm a changed person since I've been grinding. So like, and I didn't realize that I changed until I stopped grinding. So now I want to bring that to my artistry too. So it's also a cool place to like bring any ideas, just like, hey, I didn't write this shit, but like I have this idea about this one thing. What do you guys think about it? And it's also not like we don't always, the things that we're bringing to, it doesn't always have to be produced. And there are some people who are writing things who don't want to produce it through the group. They just want like a writer's workshop or feedback, which is really interesting. And it's cool to know that you have like this like hub of people that you can use or work with and, you know, move however you choose to do so.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about Urban Witch Project?
Yeah, hopefully we get to do that. Also, I need to like go in and re-edit that. Sorry, now I'm just like, oh, you know, you guys. Yeah. So basically, it's if me and like 4 friends were witches in Portland.
Great.
But basically, and again, that's me just trying to. So the things that I'm currently into right now is I'm really into spirituality. I'm really into, I guess I want to say like magic or just like, or all of those things that go into magic, but like are also science level and stuff like that. But I'm also into like everything that's the late 20 somethings right now. So like music and culture, and I think Portland has a really unique group of artists and just people that are like people of color artists and in their late 20 somethings
Mm-hmm.
that are all going through this like specific thing right now because we're all, we're nearing 30 or we're early 30s, and we're like, so it's just like the life experiences that come with that, and then throw like some magic shit on it and see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? I very much want to know what life would be like if I could control the wind.
Yeah.
Just to say I could, like, and then just also, and then also like I have like this I've been exploring sisterhood and what sisterhood means to me. And like I've realized that over the last year I've gotten very close and have pretty much bound myself to a specific group of women that live in this town. And in that relationship, without having all of the external supernatural stuff coming into or whatever, is also magical. It's just the support that I have with these women, and I just wanted to start seeing what like sisterhood would look like, just what it would look like on like a screen or on paper. And it's like we kind of have that with like Insecure and stuff like that, but it's like I'm also thinking about like, the 90s Renaissance with like Girlfriends and like stuff like that. And it's just something that I feel like I've been feeding more to see within work, which is just like Black women and magic.
I watched a movie. It was with Tiffany Haddish, and it was Like a Boss, I think, something like that.
I think so, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've seen flyer. I've seen trailers for
what's
it.
so interesting about that movie for me when I was watching it was that it takes a very cliche story that you see in kind of like romantic comedies all the time of like two people who have these down and out kind of moments, and they're doing this and and at the end they discover love. They kind of go down and out, and then at the end of the movie they rediscover their bond. What's so great about it was that usually you see that plot structured with a male and a female, and they fall in love. But Like a Boss did a really good job of is two women who are just friends. And the whole movie is just about them discovering their friendship, but it's done in this like romantic comedy way. So it's not like heavy. It's like a fun movie where two women rediscover their sisterhood. And I was like, wow, that's really cool that they were able to make this movie where you can just see two people. And I think that I can't think of the actress's name right now, but I think that they had really good chemistry. And at the end of the thing, I was like, wow, that's cool that now we can start to see these types of stories where we're really just telling the story of two people who are friends, rather than every time we see a movie or romantic comedy has to be about two people falling in love, against the odds, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I agree that type of work is important. So I have a question. So, we all are kind of ended up as artists in this city, and I want to know more about how we got here. So at what point in your life did you decide to become an artist, and more specifically a theater artist?
That is always such it's always such like a loaded question.
Yeah.
And I love to answer it all the time.
Well, did you do theater in high school?
I did do theater in high school. It's so interesting that I auditioned. I don't know, my very first memory of what theater could have been, or I don't know, in 5th grade, we were acting out the story, and I just knew I wanted to play the lawyer. I just knew it. And so like I like got like my uncle's like stuff from like some of his like law school. He had like just graduated law school, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. But in like when going to middle school, I auditioned for this magnet program, and I didn't audition for theater. I auditioned for dance and broadcast journalism. And so the dance audition was terrible. I knew nothing about dance. I wasn't a dancer. And yeah, it was just trash. So anyway, I got to high school. Someone was like, oh, you're funny. You should be in theater. I was like, girl, no. And so 9th grade, I didn't do anything, but 10th grade, I did. And it was fun. And so it stuck. But it wasn't until I think like my senior year of high school, when my mama was like, "You're not playing no more basketball because you're getting distracted. You just need to focus on theater and graduating."
Oh
I'm like,
wow.
true, because I was not the best student.
Mm.
I just couldn't focus. To this day, that's still a problem of mine. But anyway, we made it. We competed in high school. I don't know if y'all did that in high school, like where you like compete.
Yeah.
But in Florida, it's this like large competition you get to go to in Tampa. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
it's like the Super Bowl of just like high school theater competitions. And that was the first time I had ever gone. I was like, can I say the N-word on here? I don't know. What is
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, we don't-
Okay, great. I was like, nigga, like, this is it? Like, it was just like everybody was just like here. They're like dancing in the streets. They're like singing. And I was just like, oh my God. And then I witnessed the opening ceremony and like I called my dad. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm trying to go to school for. And mind you, it's like April, May.
Yeah.
And like I graduate in like a month. And he's like, all right. Okay, yeah, let's do it. And so like we looked up like I knew I wanted to go to a historically Black college, and we
Mhm.
looked up places like that have a great program, and so that's how I came across FAM. And that was it. But I didn't even really know what I could do with theater. I was just like, oh, I just like doing this. It just seemed to come easy, and it's just something that just felt like very spiritual to me, very healing. And I was just like, I just wanted that. And I was like, and if I can make a career out of it, then like sure. So yeah, that's how I got there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ty?
Honestly, it's kind of like the same story. I moved from New Jersey when I was 14. And so I pretty much moved from South Jersey to South Florida, which are wildly different places. And I wanted some friends. And I was like, all right, like, what could I do? And like, I did theater in in middle school, like on and off, like as an elective, like fun. So I joined the theater program also my sophomore year, but I joined like, so what Dre is referring to is Florida State Thespians. And I wrote out for that shit. I was about it. Like I did district, I did all like every year I did it. And then like states, that's what she's talking about. She's talking about states. And any drama nerd in Florida, all you have to say is states. And that's like a weekend of just like pure awesomeness. And it's just like, it's the same shit. It's like everybody's in the streets and there's teenagers everywhere. But you're also watching like some amazing shows. Like some of the best shows I've ever seen comes from this competition in Tampa. So yeah, I did that. And then my senior year, I was stuck between astronomy and I was stuck between three things: theater, nursing, and astronomy. And I pretty much knew that like I needed scholarships and shit. So I went with whoever gave me the best money. And then honestly, my senior year of high school, I was doing all of the competitions and stuff like that, and I started getting scholarships through it. And then they were like, we'll give you more money if you stay in state. So I was like, okay, tight. So I also did some research, and then I came across, I went to Florida State. They just offered me the most money, and then I had got into a program called CARE. So that coupled with the scholarships I got, it was just like, cool, I guess we're going to go to college for theater. And I did that. And yeah, that's how I ended up. That's how I just stayed with it. I just did that.
That's awesome. Wait, so here's a question. Do you have any memories of seeing each other at state conference?
Honestly, Dre, we've been around each other like consistently for like the last like 10 to 11 years. Probably.
Yeah, facts. Facts. And just
like,
never just like, yeah.
That's so
like,
funny.
Because it's high school with theater, and then you went to FAM, I went to Florida State, and then I think I remember seeing maybe Tevin because I was a part of Black Actors Guild for like a hot 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Because then I started doing other things and blah, blah, blah. And I got really into performance art. So I started rocking around. I was always at Railroad Square. So I was always close to FAMU.
Yeah.
But I was never like, and then we moved here, and then somebody was like, you guys also need to know each other because everybody's from Florida. And I was like, what?
Everybody's from Florida. It's so weird.
But
Florida and Ohio. Florida and Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it was like,
and
we were like, oh my God.
That's how me and Phil met too. I mean, we were around each other, didn't really know each other in high school, but we were at the same like area and state conferences for theater stuff.
Growing up in high school too.
I always
It's
tell
funny.
the story how my unofficial meeting of Clifton was when I saw him in a show at state conference in high school.
Yeah.
And I was just
senior
like,
year.
I was like, wow, that guy's a really good actor. And
Stop.
and then literally like 2 years later, I was we were at OU,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, I saw you at a state conference like do a show.
It was cool.
You know what? But there's something about I would just want to say that, like, shout out to State Thespian. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing the real
Yes.
work.
Yeah, they are.
ITS, baby.
Yeah. I was just working at a school in the fall, and they were part of the ITS incident, you know, that whole thing. And I was like, yeah, it's everywhere, man. It's really cool. And yeah, I mean, most people I know in theater now are involved in that stuff, you know.
So here's a question. Since you've come to Portland, do you think that being in Portland as long as we have has influenced your art in any way? Or your process?
Dre, you look like you're still thinking.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I came here for school. And that was a journey. So I learned a lot. I just learned, I feel like a couple of things. Like, I learned a lot because I was in school, so I learned a lot from my process, but also I moved here when I was like 22 and I'm now 27. So that's a very pivotal amount of time in a young person's life, is that literally the mid 20s. So I learned a lot about the game. I learned a lot about just acting, and I learned a lot about myself. I think Portland is a great place to, there is a big ass fly up in here. Sorry. It's so, I don't have screens on my windows. This place is old. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'll get it. I just don't want him to bother Peggy. Yeah, so I learned a lot about that. So yeah, I don't know. Portland is a great place. It's like a training ground. I feel like it's good for you to get your stuff together and like learn a lot, and then you can milk it. I'm pretty much gonna stay here until the well runs dry. And like, Phil, you said some shit to me like last year. I don't know. You said some shit that like really, where you were like, if you can hustle here as hard as you would in like LA, then like this place could really be beneficial for you. So it's like, and I only know how to hustle at one level. So like, I don't really know how to hustle at different levels. So like, my hustle here, which has just been me constantly grinding and then also trying to figure out how to do that, has been really helpful here. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. Like,
no,
my
that's
brain's
great.
like boo boo.
Drea, how about you?
Same. I came to Portland to be an apprentice. And that was a rough year. And I think I became a woman in Portland because, child, I ain't never lived outside of the state of Florida. And so it was the first time that I felt like truly isolated from my family, and also like my friends. And it was just, and after graduating, it was hard. I don't know, I graduated after like 5.5 years, almost 6 years. And so it was just tough. And I learned a lot about vulnerability and the power that it has on stage, and that like true artists is, in order to be any type of artist, you have to be vulnerable and let people in, because if not, why are we watching you? And so that is like a huge thing that I learned since being there, and just learned a lot about myself. And I created a process for myself, because before, child, I'd learn lines and get on stage and be like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so like I created like a process of like building characters, and that's something that I still struggle with, but I at least like have like the foundation for it now. And it's just like from working with different artists that I respect in Portland too, I learned a lot from them. Yeah,
it's really,
I grew.
There's a wealth of information here, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I was expecting, but I am impressed with the Portland theater community, because there's really masters of craft here. And it seems like they're hiding out. You know, it feels like you have to go to New York or Chicago to really become a successful theater artist, but or to even advance, you know, your training. But what I've learned by being around some of the people here is that there's really a lot of kind of like diamonds that live in these regional communities that have a lot of experience from big cities, and you don't have to go and like, I don't want to say waste your time, but you don't have to go and grind at a New York level to get a New York education, you know? Now, there's definitely some advantages to being in New York, but being in Portland has definitely made me a better artist. And it seems like a lot of people I talk to, they seem like they've grown a lot since they've been here.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've just, maybe it's just because I just know people my age, but I just feel like there's so many people who like my age who like moved here like 5 years ago, like me. Like, it's really interesting. And there was something about that like people came here to like, you know, right after school or to study or whatever, to like grow their career. And it was just interesting to see how many people came and then like have been sticking around, you know, came from other places because it just sounded like a good idea, you know, and it was like, yeah, it's like there's just a lot going on. And I feel like, I mean, I know a lot of friends living in larger cities who their main hustle is just like paying rent, you know? And I mean, that's true for anybody, but like they're working on art way less because they're so much more overwhelmed with the size of just keeping everything going and just getting lost in such a huge pool. So it's been cool to like find people here who I click with and then can collaborate with. And then there's a space to collaborate and like the infrastructure for collaboration. If you want to put up a show, like you can, if you just, you know, just figure it out. And there's just a slightly easier access into things, which is really nice.
And we built
have to put more hours in.
And we built a support system too. Like you were saying earlier, you know, how do you come into these ideas like sisterhood? How do you come into these ideas like these concepts other than being in a community or a support system that gives you the time and space to really experience those things and think about those things and then begin to record those things?
And it's not just like the theater community either. It's like also because I'm getting really into the music scene that's here as well. And it's like the neo soul, like feels like there's this renaissance with like or just like alternative R&B. It's like really kind of taking hold here, like the music that is happening and like the creative. And it's like the artists here are really good. And what I really want to do is, again, I'm trying to figure out what my art is specifically because I really like writing. I've also gotten really back into poetry. And it's just, I want to create, Portland has like this energy about it that it could really create some beautiful shit if we just like pour into it. And like really just and just go outside of the shit that we've been doing because we've done writing, we've done acting, we've done producing. So it's like, what is it to do beat poetry? What is it to like continue to move into this form of production where we cross all of the disciplines and see what we make? Because we are starting to have those interactions with each other and forming that support group. So it's like, I really want to like get into other mediums and have us all come together and like figure some shit out that could be really cool.
Yeah, well, great. So let's take a break. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a second to talk about our show sponsors. Coho is a theater that's located in Northwest Portland, and their mission is to broaden perspectives and cultivate empathy through vibrant and intimate productions. If you're looking to get involved with Coho or interested in seeing a show, you can check them out at 2257 Northwest Raleigh Street in Portland, Oregon, or you can look at their website, which is cohoproductions.org. Our other show sponsor is virtualsonicreality.com, which is a production company that specializes in recording and audio format entertainment, such as podcasts and audio dramas. Feel free to visit the website at virtualsonicreality.com. And now back to the show. It's time for headlines.
Headlines.
So headlines is the point in the show where we bring all the topics that we've been saving from the week. A lot of these things come from the internet. And we're going to present them to you, and you just tell us what you think. So the first headline is, a Japanese aquarium wants you to FaceTime their eels. Yes, really. And so so this article basically is saying that animals need love too, I guess. You know, like it's basically saying that the aquariums, because they have nobody coming through them, the animals are getting bored. And so now they're having people FaceTime their animals. What do you think?
I don't know why this has me so tickled. It's the yes, really, because I was like, really? And then that just took me out.
That's definitely a part
I
of
don't
this.
know. I have a love-hate relationship with aquariums because it's like I get that they're also saving animals, but also, I don't know, ever since seeing Blackfish, it's my whole mind is just like, we don't need them. Just leave them animals where they at, and it'll be fine. We wouldn't have to FaceTime eels if they were in the ocean.
Hey.
It's just like, but also, yes, animals need love too. So I don't know.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I was like, I'll fucking.
I'm gonna FaceTime. I sit here.
What
like,
else
watching-
are we doing?
I watch the otter cam. If I can sit here and watch the otter and penguin cam in my spare time, then yeah, I'm gonna have some conversations with some eels. Let me FaceTime them. I'll do it.
And why is it just the eels?
That's
You know?
weird. I don't
They're
know.
probably
I
just trying to
know.
throw people.
I did see though that eels don't need to be looking at people.
Maybe
Maybe
they're
they're depressed.
fucking happy.
Maybe they're
you
like
know?
the saddest. Maybe they're not. Maybe like they just discovered that eels really need human interaction.
Wow.
This
Wow.
is
That's
groundbreaking new research. Eels need to be on FaceTime.
I have been seeing photos though of like them taking animals like around the zoo to meet other animals during quarantine. Like they've been like walking the elephant around. There's like some really cute pictures of the elephant like smiling at the seal or like, you know, some pretty cute stuff. And so yeah, how I feel similarly, Dre, about keeping animals in captivity for like looking at. But you know, even though that the institutions do help, but it is, you know, once they're there, you got to keep them happy, and it is cute to see an elephant smile.
Wow. We
The
can
earth
learn
is truly
something from
healing.
them.
Yeah.
No?
I think it's gonna take a lot more than this. The earth is like, y'all done fucking me up for like
Facts. We need to
months
be
of-
like in quarantine about 30 years, and then maybe
Oh.
like I don't know.
2 months of you not going outside.
We might end up being in quarantine for 30 years. We don't know.
I can't. Just take
Okay.
me out to
Don't
dry.
say don't
Yeah.
say that. Please
Yeah.
don't say that.
Just
Like,
take me out the game because like
All right, so I
Got
got
one.
another headline. AI generated music is getting so scary good, it might be made illegal.
Really?
I
need
Illegal
to
by
hear
who?
to believe
I
it.
need
I need to
more-
hear it to believe it. Like,
Yeah, I
Can
need
we
more
drop it?
context.
You got any
So the headline is a little misleading because it kind of makes you think that music is just getting better, that music made by artificial intelligence is just better music. But the article actually is talking about the fact that AI can take a voice, say Jay-Z, and make music in that way. And so
just like make Jay-Z music?
yeah, it can sound like Jay-Z and make music.
Whoa.
And that's why it's going to be made illegal, because it's like
the deep fake stuff.
it's like deep fake stuff. Because what happens is like AI is like, oh, I know what people like, Jay-Z.
And
Here's-
you-
Here's
Here's
60 new Jay-Z albums.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hear that though. Like, what is like AI Jay-Z rapping about?
Oh my
yes.
goodness.
What if it's better than Jay-Z?
Well, that's what they're saying.
Yo.
They're saying it's better than Jay-Z.
See, now I have to hear it
Defense.
now. So, are they like
Exactly.
writing it too?
Yeah, the AI writes it. But here's the question: is
yeah.
it's if you've ever heard like a
How
deep
is
fake?
it writing?
Have you ever heard the AI lyrics? That's what I'm saying. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Well, if you ever heard like a deep fake talk, or if you ever heard like an algorithm talk, it's a little nonsensical. You know, it probably sounds like Jay-Z's voice, but the words are probably like a little like weird.
That's why I want to hear it.
I mean,
because
it might
AI
be
talk
better.
is
I
so
don't know.
Phil,
strange.
please give us an example.
I don't. That
need
is
to-
the
I
example.
need to
This is just
flip
an
it.
article.
Please,
This is not.
I need you to give your best.
You gotta find
AI
that. This is an
Jay-Z
audio
impression.
format.
I really wish. I mean, I wish I had an example to show you. But the idea is that it's deep fake, and that's what we got. You know. Now, I imagine you could go on to the internet and find an example.
Okay.
I imagine you.
But I haven't been able to.
Kristen's like, do it now.
No, that's what
I'm
I'm
just
asking.
joking,
I
I'm
need
just
to hear
joking.
it now, Phil. I need you to
I'll
tap in.
find it.
I've got another headline for you, kind of a headline. It's more of a trend, and I'm curious about how it's going for you all. This coronavirus trend of like, oh dang it, I forgot to bring my horn down. The 7 p.m. The 7 p.m. making sound for mandatory workers thing. Does that happen near you? Does everyone like go off at 7 p.m. and like car horns start going off for like 3 minutes?
Wait, what is this?
Oh, interesting.
There was some trend. I don't know where it started, but I think in like New York, they've been talking about it on the Read too. So I know it's been happening in New York, where at 7 o'clock everyone will like just go outside and make a bunch of noise. And I thought it was just fun to go outside and make a bunch of noise. And then I learned it was for like, you know, mandatory workers and like frontline workers and stuff, because like there's a shift change at 7. And so they were doing it by some New York hospital or something. And now like it's, you know, in neighborhoods wherever. And I was wondering who started it in my neighborhood. And I went on a walk and I found someone who had put this big sign out front of their house that said, make noise at 7 p.m. for mandatory workers. And now I can see how this might get annoying to some people. Lots of noise then. But I personally like to go out with a really weird squeaky horn at about 7 o'clock and just like squeak it off like wick 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 wick, and just like obnoxious. There's like people across the street that like will like hit the panic button on their car, and so it'll be like just honking, and I'll just be like honky honky honky, honky. Like for like 2.5 minutes, and then okay, I'm good. And but it's been happening less, and I've been like I'll be like taking a nap, and then I'll hear it and be like meh. And I think it's been petering out a bit. But I did see when I was going for a walk like 2 days ago, a few blocks away, someone had put something out, and maybe they're the ones who are really on it. Just no one else been hearing this.
So
No,
I heard
that's so interesting.
I heard
I've
that
heard of
they
it.
started that in Italy, that they were doing the like
okay.
they were doing the
That
like
makes sense.
everyone yell out the window thing that we used to do in college for finals.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think New York kind of like evolved it. But there's a guy, so I don't have that, but there is a person who at 8 a.m. in my neighborhood walks down the street carrying a boombox playing classical music. That's his
I love
thing.
it.
Nice.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
That's my alarm
so
clock in the
beautiful.
morning.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
You would think so, but it's actually
Oh.
not.
Feels like I hate that shit.
It's so aggravating.
Anything that happens every day that you don't have control over is
Go
annoying.
home, Jerry.
I have no control over this.
Oh my god.
What if it was like the Quran or something?
Well,
Like they
that's
do.
true. I've experienced that where people like the mosques will do their horn and the thing. Oh my god, yeah, that's very loud as well.
Sounds similar. I have my 8 a.m. alarm these days has just been the radio, the classical radio station, which is sometimes nice and sometimes not. Yeah.
So do you guys
agree.
get up at a certain time in the morning? Like I
was
know
about to
you're
say,
at work time.
I go to bed at 8 a.m. Y'all, my sleep schedule is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have one. So like I go to bed like at 3,
Mm-hmm.
between 3 and 5 a.m. My parents get up pretty early. I mean, my dad is up at 5 every morning, and like both of my parents are working from home. They're teachers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I'm getting like 4 hours of sleep, and then I'll probably crash like at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up at like 9. Y'all, it's dead. My sleep schedule is dead.
Ty, do you have to get up earlier when you work from home, or do you get to sleep in?
I don't want to. So I should be getting up at my regular time so I can be at work at my scheduled time.
That is your
Yeah.
statement.
That's good to
That's
know.
right, Ty. That's right.
That's the rules.
For all your coworkers who will hear this episode.
That's right.
I need to keep making this money. I'm not trying to be dumb out here in these streets.
Bye.
That's great. All right, guys. Well, let's plug some things. So if you have anything you want to plug, you want to let our listeners know or point them towards, this is the time.
Yeah, I got a couple of things here. Well, yeah, one of my best friends from growing up, Brendan Joyce, is a poet and has been a poet for as long as I can remember, and he's actually started to gain some internet traction recently. And I definitely would recommend. He just came out with a new book of poetry, and he came out with one. Like several months ago, like maybe 6 months ago, and it kind of took off recently, and he just came out with a new one. The first one is called Character Limit, and it's a large collection of poems that's all within the Twitter character limit. So he like posted it as Twitter on his Twitter page, and then released it as a book. And so it's almost like haikus, you know. So his Twitter handle is at Nice Try Officer, and his name's Brennan Joyce. He's like community organizer, he's big into workers' rights, and his new book that just came out is called Unemployment Insurance. And it's a collection of poems, both about the pandemic and society in general. He had started writing it already before the pandemic, but it all became kind of even more prescient as this all happened. So you can find it on gumroad.com, or just search his Twitter handle, which is at Nice Try Officer. I've been really digging it. He just came out with a new book. I'm about to buy it. The other thing is I just listened to an audiobook called Stealing Fire, and it was very, very good. Stealing Fire by, there you go, Stephen Kotler. Stephen Kotler wrote this book. It's really good. It's a little self-helpy, but like it brings together the whole like the idea, the different things that we get out of spirituality, mystical experiences, art, action sports, and really ties this all together, this thing that we're all looking for. And he points to it as like an essential drive that we have, right up there with like food, water, and shelter, is like this desire to understand more and have this deeper connection and knowledge with the people around us. And so that was it. It really cracked some things open for me. And I definitely recommend it. If you have the Libby app in Portland, on the Portland, the Multnomah County Libraries, you can rent that audiobook there for free. So there you go. That's my plugs.
This is so silly, but JoJo has an album out.
All right.
It's called Good to Know. It's out on Spotify and Apple Music and all those great things. And it's great. So if anyone's going through a breakup or just needs to just like feel confident.
JoJo made a breakup album?
She did. And it's fire.
That's really funny.
It's so good.
I listened to Kalani's album last night, and
how is it?
It's also a breakup album. And it feels,
nice.
I liked it. I thought it was.
But JoJo actually be singing out here.
Show do.
Yeah, this is like a vocal performance.
Yes, like Mama
is it really?
Like, yes, she is telling a full story. Like, I mean, outside of it being a breakup album, but it's also just like a testament of just like love yourself and don't forget like who you are. Self-worth is what she's preaching. That's what I'm getting from it.
That's awesome.
That's what I got.
I'm gonna go ahead and plug the Vanport Mosaic Festival, which started on May 8th.
Is it still going?
And
wow.
It's running, and it's gonna run to May 30th. And if I were you and I wanted to know more about it, I would look at the Instagram at Vanport Mosaic, or I would type in Vanport Mosaic into Google, and it'll pull up a bunch of information. I'm currently getting my information from Instagram, and what's great about being on the Instagram feed is that a lot of the art pieces and things that are a part of the festival are happening on Instagram. So you can get clips of them or access to them through Instagram. And it looks like even today there's something going on, and it looks like there'll be kind of like poetry readings and talks happening up until May 30th. So definitely support that and check it out.
I feel like I should also, I'm going to piggyback off Phil's too and say the Vanport Mosaic Festival, just because Sold is within it as well. So Sold is a device piece we came up with last fall. I'm actually not quite sure how it's fitting into this right now. I just know that I've updated a script for it. So I'm excited to see. I'm not performing or doing anything with it, but I'm excited to see what that'll be like. So Sold. And I think it's the economics of the Black body is the rest of the title, and that's with Vanport Mosaic Festival, which is cool. And then I'm gonna just plug my own Instagram because I'm trying to be an athletic model out here. You gotta start somewhere. I need followers.
Yeah, athletic model. Yeah.
So plug my own Instagram. Follow me at Tyharra. I don't really do anything on there though, so I'm trying
Start
to
posting. Now you got an audience.
I am. I'm trying to be better about posting. But yeah, so that's it. I am reading a book of poetry too. Tracy K. Smith. She's cool. Her dad worked on the Hubble. It's poetry meets sci-fi in space. So that's pretty cool. But yeah,
Nice.
that's all I got.
Oh, I also want to plug my Instagram then.
Yeah.
At Andrea Vernae _
Nice.
Yes, underscore. Make sure they got that underscore. Don't leave that underscore out.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show and talking with us,
Yeah.
especially during quarantine. I know things are weird right now. We'd love to have you back on soon once we all get back up and running and doing different creative projects. So, keep us in the loop.
Heck yeah.
Thank
Right.
you.
Good to
Thanks.
see
Thanks
y'all.
for having me.
Good to see y'all too.
guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Radical Listening. If you have questions or would like to reach out, feel free to reach out to our email, which is radicallisteningpodcast@gmail.com, or visit the Coho Theater website for more information. And thanks for listening.